Good afternoon, Norcal Karters. This is Jason, and this is our weekly podcast show. And this one's going to be a little bit different. Hopefully, it's a little special for a lot of you out there. We have a special guest, Jason Lapoint. Say hello.
How's it going?
I'm doing good. I know we were supposed to do this last night, but you know how it goes. We both have families, and time to it gets away from us pretty quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was happy to get that. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow, Tex.
I was looking at the time, and we were getting close to 8 o'clock, and it's like, you know what? I know you and I are just going to start talking and go on, and I wanted to respect your evening with the family, so I think this actually works better.
Yeah, no, this is a better time for sure.
And then I can kind of fake it. My wife thinks I'm actually working, so this is great.
Oh, yeah, I blew that. My wife knows I'm not working, so.
All right. So we're going to come right back to you here in a couple moments. So this is our weekly show. We go over the different events coming up. So I'm going to run down the next 4 weeks of the NorCal karting events or events that might be out of the area that affect our racers. And then we're gonna circle back to Jason. We're gonna have a good show today. Really looking forward to it. So getting to the events this weekend, Prairie City. This is their 4-stroke weekend, and it's race number 1, and that's going to be February 6th and 7th. And thank you to Prairie City. You're a recent calendar sponsor, so we appreciate the support. And again, race number 1 for their 4-stroke classes. If you go to norcalkarters.com, click on the calendar, and we have a list of their 4-stroke classes, and we also have a list of their 2-stroke class weekend. So this weekend is 4 strokes, plus the 80 shifters. So 4-stroke plus 80 shifter. Let's see here. That's this weekend. The following weekend, Valentine's Day falls on a Sunday, so there's no races on my calendar for Valentine's Day, so guys, no excuses. Let's see here. Then we have Prairie City, race 1, their 2-stroke weekend. So that's their 2-stroke classes plus their 125 shifters. That is going to be February 20th and 21st. And again, norcalkarters.com, click on the calendar. You can click on each event, and our sponsors, we have their page links directly on the calendar, so you can go right to their websites. And that same weekend, GFC Karting will be in Florida, supporting his customers on the East Coast for the Florida Winter Tour. And then we have, at the end of the month, Challenge of the Americas. They are also a NorCal Karters sponsor. And this is their second year supporting NorCal Karters. Their second round is at Cal Speed in Fontana. And Gary Carlton, if you're wondering why I mention him, he is also a sponsor. And this year he paid to have his kart shop and his race schedule on our calendar. So he will also be at Challenge of the Americas for the Fontana race. And that's going to be 26th, 27th, and 28th of February. So I'm going to cut the schedule a little short today because we really want to get to Jason, and we're just going to see how this podcast goes. So Jason, you ready?
Yep.
Let's dive into this one. So I texted you yesterday and we were chatting, and like I said to you yesterday, I don't think I've ever really heard or had seen media attention on the track moms. And I thought it was very fitting for you to come on. You've been around karting for a long time. Your family's been around karting for a long time. And yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think this is a real special episode. Obviously, for a lot of that, my mom just recently passed away, and was definitely, a real hard deal for everyone who's lost a loved one. But when we're talking about track moms and we're talking about, this type of deal is really recent, loss for me, but it's definitely, it's really important, obviously for a lot of people who are currently, having their moms come to the track every weekend and not really maybe appreciating it as much as they should. And then for me to look back and say, wow, that was really cool. And maybe, everybody should, appreciate their mom more. In this episode, I think that's kind of where I'm seeing this being a real good deal that you came up with.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, seeing your posts on your personal page and kind of sitting back, and I'm not one of those guys that I'm not really great with words. And I was thinking in my head, it just the whole thing got me going. And yeah, it's like the track moms. It's like we're always talking about the mechanics. We're always talking about the drivers or the teams, and how great all these programs are. And my mom might be listening, so I got to be careful. But my mom was never a track mom. In fact, she didn't like me. She didn't like watching me racing, and she felt that she was bad luck when she came to the track, because every time she came, I always had some, pretty gnarly crash, and it was never because she was there. It was just I was a bad driver.
Yeah, I probably didn't want to watch that.
She did not want to watch, and
it's scary.
Yeah, but I started thinking about it. It's like there's a lot of women that have been at the track over the years that I've always looked at. It's like, yeah, those are track moms. And, some of them you really look forward to seeing when you go to the event. And, yeah, so share some stories. Share some track mom stories.
I definitely have a ton about my mom in general. Because she was a track mom before she was, there to support my racing. She was one that, got me into racing and raced go-karts long before I did. And both my mom and dad raced karts for a number of years. And then my mom's best friend, Karen Fow, which is my best friend, Ryan Fow's mom, at the time she was married to Phil Fow, who owned World of Karting up here and got my dad and stuff in the karting. And they both raced four-stroke dual karts, and then my mom got into road racing. And so she was a mom to me while she was a racer. And then also when I got into racing, it was like, my dad was very intense, like a lot of the track dads. So when it came to like learning and being patient with someone who was a beginner, learning to do just tune a carburetor on a Yamaha, or learning to drive in general, it was my mom that was out when it snowed outside, teaching me to drift a Volkswagen Bug around the school parking lot, and doing other things. But she definitely, I think, in that aspect, she was a little different than most track moms that hadn't raced. But then later on in life, what does a track mom do? A track mom does everything. A track mom basically controls the purse strings literally the purse strings on your budget, right? Because as my dad and I would have, spent, everything, to go racing, and, where's the limit there? We pushed that limit and made sacrifices like a lot of these families do, but the mom's really the one that, a lot of times has to make the budget work or figure it out, or be the one that says, listen, we just can't do this too. You guys are nuts. So, and then, all through my karting career, that was the case. And then after, I started racing for Track Magic and started moving out and getting into car stuff, I still had no idea how to be an adult. So who's, you're track mom is basically she's your bookkeeper, she's your accountant, she's your, sometimes your travel agent. I mean, it was never a dull moment, even to when I entered business for the first time and opened up my first shop. I mean, it was like she'd come down and have to do the filing and bookkeeping and everything I was behind on because, that's what, moms do. And so it was really cool to, when you're thinking about the racing and the track mom, I mean, the behind the scenes of what's going on that makes it happen. The track mom, pulls it together, not to mention when everything's intense. I mean, who did not have a blow up if you're racing with your father? Who didn't have a blow up with their dad at some point, right?
Yeah.
We all did. In fact, back in the day, like when me and Mike Rollison and used to race with a few other guys, we were in juniors and stuff with, Michael Valiante and you named it. The group was pretty intense back then in the Northwest. And a lot of guys you still see today. And we would actually, at times, even Don Humbo and CMC Motors, who is actually a new GFC dealer up here, Scott Humbo and I were good friends. But back in the day, we'd all blow up at our dads at some point or other, and then our moms would have to like cool everyone down, and and usually we'd have to step in and help the kid who's not talking to his dad at that point, and but without that mediator of the moms being around, I mean, I can imagine how many events would have gone completely south, and so I appreciate, a lot of the moms over the years being the arbitrator or mediator between the parents and between the dads and even between the kids racing, Yeah. I mean, they had to remind us we're still friends and family and we're not just, competitors when things get heated or your buddy takes you out on the track and, I mean, you have to have that track mom there for some peace. Not that all track moms weren't not intense. I mean, I've seen, some really intense, track moms over the years. One of which we were just talking to not long ago. Oliver Rowan and I were down in Monterey and we were talking to, what's her name? Ryan Finney's mom has the Baja Catina there. And we were talking to them, and she was a fun track mom for a while, and still really intense, around all the racing. So, it was really fun. I can say, I think of a lot of instances, where track moms, don't get the credit. You always see them, they're walking around normally, and they've got the T-shirt on of, or the racing shirt or the jacket and usually pretty casual and used to, maybe they're just coming out of the RV and, they're, depends on your budget or how you operate or race. But the ones that were really intense that had been with it since their kids were little and basically at the track every weekend, I remember my mom doing registration because the club needed it, and then she was doing, a lot of them would do timing and scoring, and they would do a lot of the jobs that just made the weekends go. They'd volunteer for the positions because they knew it needed to happen for us to go play.
Yeah.
So
you just highlighted some of my notes right there.
You had that down?
I did, yeah, because as you were talking, it's like, what? Our local track at Blue Mess, I really think about it. And typically the registration, the towers, to keep the event, like you just said, actually rolling, I'm looking at it, and it's the wives and the moms. It's like they're the ones behind the scenes, and, yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're always the one. They know everyone's name. They're putting your bracelet on. They ain't getting, and no one's getting really paid for anything. I mean, they're just there. They see the need. They know they can do that during the day, and then I mean, they really help operate all the behind the scenes things at the track, not just the young racers and their budgets and all that. I tell you, until you brought this up, I wouldn't have thought about it. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, it's quite amazing, that we don't do more appreciation towards that, and stuff. So, and I've seen it over the years with all my friends, so, but yeah, when you walk up, who do you see first when you're racing at Dixon or you're racing at, Davis, and, so definitely a lot of the moms, some of them actually stayed even after after their kids were done racing. They were still volunteering, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So, that once they got involved with it, they just never stopped being the track mom, even though their kid wasn't doing it anymore. So yeah, really, really interesting stuff. I mean, I think, in juniors, you see a lot of the moms like really engulfed in their kids racing. They're on the fence. They're very into it because they don't want their kid hurt. They're scared sometimes, or they're super excited. It's more little league at that point. And then as their kid gets older, I mean, that's when they really start getting more involved with the behind the scene things and other things that help operate the events, because they see that's where a need is. I mean, it's not every mom, everyone's got different roles. I mean, I wouldn't say that, there isn't moms out there wrenching on a go-kart, and there isn't kids out there that don't have, maybe a father to help them race. They do have a mom. And so, it's definitely, it'd be interesting to get a lot of people's take and input on this in the feedback off this podcast, because I would love to hear some of the stories that, these people have, and I know a lot of racers like myself that have lost their mom, and we were just talking last night, and about, Scott Speed and stuff, and about his mom, who I saw a lot at the track and stuff, who also, passed away. And it definitely is, it hits home hard when you look back and if you've had a career or a long time racing, like, the effects of, what you took from your mom and how you used it to be a better person in racing, and maybe you're giving back later in life and you didn't even know that was an influence that, from your mom. But I definitely see it now,
Yeah, one thing you said a little bit earlier was, if your mom is still around, or that person in your life that is filling that role as a track mom, you made the comment, appreciate it, because, you don't know when it's going to be gone. And when you said that, a couple people came to mind on my end that when I got back into the go-kart, I went out to Blue Max and I just wanted to race. That's it. Just leave me alone. I want to race. Get me on the track. And I can't remember if she was the president or vice president at the time, but it was Beverly Ban, and she was the Blue Max track mom. And she had her hands in everything at the track, the promotion, special events, and looking back at it, and she's still around, but she's no longer actively involved with Blue Max at this point. And like the first year, it's like, can we just race? I don't care about all the other fluff, right? And that was me in my own little world being selfish and just want to get on the track. And when you appreciate it when it's there, well, she took some leave away from the karting scene a little bit, and you could definitely see the drop off in enthusiasm and lack of a better term, marketing for the track. But she had that mindset. It's like, no, it's going to be a family event. We're going to have fun. We're going to do like a carnival type fair in the middle of the summer with dunk tanks and chili cook-offs, and there was always something going on. And at the moment, I didn't appreciate it because I just wanted to go drive. And now I look at it, it's like, well, those were some nice touches. And if I was more family oriented at the track, maybe that was great value for people at the track. And who's stepping up to do it? A track mom.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think you nailed it too. Karting really at the grassroots level or club level, has to be fun and family oriented. And the track mom does a great job doing that type of promotion for sure. She realizes what's more fun for the whole family. I mean, I have a sister too, right? And I have other, and people who have siblings or younger siblings, and, they all get drug out to the track, with the track mom, and she's sometimes has a little one running around behind her while she's trying to do all the stuff, and the son's racing, and it turns into this big family deal at the track. And so that is more fun when, it's organized like that, and it does grow the sport versus, what we see in more the professional side of karting, where everybody, shows up to like these big, rock events or SCUSA where they, have a nice sealed tent, and you don't, it's not as family oriented. It's not meant to be, but it definitely, is at the club level that grows the sport and gets people in it and gets them where they need to be. And yeah, without the track mom doing that stuff, I mean, I think it's a real, it's just a big, such a big part that's been ignored, and maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe this is the start of something where you could, there could be some more appreciation for it, and it will help the sport grow if you do appreciate it more. I mean, I can't think of any time throughout any of our club banquets or our award ceremonies or our regional banquets, we all took home trophies, and up to 5th place sometimes, and we all driver of the year, mechanic of the year, all this stuff, right? And I don't think I've ever seen a track mom carry home anything. So something we thought about,
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It's about the driver, it's about the team, it's about the mechanic of the year. You're right. There's not the Mom of the Year award, but you know what? Honestly, it's probably not there because they're the one organizing everything, and they're not thinking about themselves. They're thinking of everybody else. And you say the fun stuff. I remember back, it was around 2006 or 2008. I didn't have any kids, and I'm pretty self-centered. Having a kid definitely makes my little circle open up a little bit more, but at the end of the day, I still think I'm in the middle of it. And I remember Dixon used to do these Easter egg hunts, and I'm pretty sure they still do. And me just being a, lack of a better term, a dick, it's like I would get mad because they shut the race day down so the kids could go have an Easter egg hunt. It's like, come on, can we just get out and get going so we go home earlier? And I look back at it now, my daughter, she's 8 years old, and that would probably get my daughter to the track if I said, hey, do you want to go to the track? I'm going to go race, but they're doing an Easter egg hunt during lunchtime. And that would probably be that one little motivation. Is like, yeah, that sounds like fun. I can go hang out with my friends at the track and have an Easter egg hunt. And I can think of Jessica and Melanie. I could vividly remember them placing the eggs all over the track, and it was like, and I could remember me being in the pits, like, come on, can we go race? We're here to race karts. If you want an Easter egg hunt, go to church. And
Yeah, back when I was racing cars and stuff, there's certain tracks, even go-karts, they'd shut down for church on Sunday for like 2 hours. And I remember being the same way, a little bit, self-centered, and, I'd be like, what? Can't shut down racing for church, I mean, there was nothing more important than just getting to the event to me. And I probably would act the same way before kids and everything, but yeah, I definitely think you're right. What we're lacking at that age, or pre-kids and wife and whatever, is what the moms would bring. And,
Yeah.
Otherwise it would turn into something a little, that not everybody would enjoy, and it would, less people would go and do it. And so that's interesting. I think, we'll probably cut on the similar cloth there. Most guys, or young guys, are anyway. We all think we're going to show up, and that race is the most important thing in the world, and everyone's going to know if we won. In reality, it's the people there. And nobody knows. So, and then your biggest fan is actually your mom that's doing all the stuff there, and you're like, oh, geez. I guess in hindsight, everything's more clear now as I get older and wiser, or whatever.
Well, our life perspective changes, and I don't want to get too far off the track mom thing, because I think that's what we need to focus on. But I've seen a couple of different chats going on the Facebook stuff, and I remember being younger. When you first get into the sport, you go through that attitude of, why can't I just race anything I want? And then you're at it longer, and then you understand how the rules are structured, etc. And it's like, oh, I want more structure. I want spec. I want this. I want that. And then now here I am, 20, 25 years into the sport, looking at it, and I'm looking as like, you know what? We need to have a Craigslist class. We need to have a spec class. We need to have a regional series. We need to have the local clubs that just run what you brung. And it's funny how you just said, your different perspectives in life. And like now both of us, we both have kids. And it's like, yeah, we kind of need that Easter egg hunt at the track, or we need that chili cook-off. But maybe not at SCUSA or the Supernats or Challenge of the Americas. Maybe it's at your local Blue Max, Dixon, Prairie City, wherever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big part of these, especially club level. It's super important. I mean, these bigger races, they have a crew that comes in, and, there's still a lot of volunteers and other people that help put it on. But the club is, the moms have the biggest role in the behind the scenes. Even working the snack bars, back when we had snack bars and more food and stuff I remember working, even doing that type of thing. It's a pretty big deal. And I mean, it's a wonder, I think there's this separation, like you said, Craigslist, cart class, and other things. And, putting it in perspective, budget-wise, it's pretty funny. When I used to justify things when I was a kid, it was all based on price of a set of tires for a go-kart, right? And my mom would laugh at me because I'd be like, Mom, I really want those shoes. And she'd be like, those are like, I mean, this was back in the day, but the shoes were so expensive if you wanted Nikes or Jordans or something. I'd be like, that's not even a set of tires. My mom would be like, you can't judge everything on a set of tires. I'm like, literally, that's like not even a set of tires, Mom. I want that ski coat. And I'm like, yeah, that's less than a set of tires. And so, I feel bad, moms have to hear this when you get into racing, which is basically, I mean, it's a sport that's not cheap. And moms have to try to get their kids to understand the value of the dollar when they're out racing, and every time you want that new go-kart, or you need that new engine rebuild, or you need that you know, you probably got that sweet tech too, you know, you got the guy on the phone and he's like, wait, I have to get that credit card from my wife. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, and you know that's going to be a hard one because the first thing he's going to do is be like, hey, honey, you have the credit card? And she's going to ask, how much are you putting on this, you know? And, yeah, that track mom with that card has got the control right there, you know? It's, and so probably makes her role so important people don't realize. But back when I had a shop, I had people coming in buying stuff from me, and you know, I sold go-kart stuff too, and I had the guy sneak me his credit card in a shop rag because he didn't want his wife to see it, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this is where we've gone. This is I'm going to be that guy someday, right? So, but yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. You know, we stay on topic about, you know, track mom and their roles. So we have financially, emotionally, you know, volunteer positions and behind the scenes. So intricate part of how the track works, how your personal racing works, you know, and then I don't know if many people remember this, but we all took off like days to go practicing on Friday before a big race. And, you know, there was always I should do my homework, you know, and I was like, I'm not doing my homework, you know? And so, I mean, without the mom being in charge of that and helping me, you know, would I have done as well or got through school as good, you know, probably not, you know, I mean, they had to balance all of that because you're so focused on your racing. So there's definitely more, as I'm thinking out loud with you, that we're probably forgetting here, but it's quite a lot, you know, the dynamic they have. And so, and everybody knows more than one. There's the track mom that's, like you said, that controls the whole track sometimes. She's the track mom to everybody, you know? Yeah. And then there's the ones that basically, you know, are just controlling their family. Maybe only one sibling out of 4 is out there racing, and she's trying to control the herd, you know, while they're bored out of their mind, you know? So yeah, there's a lot of different aspects there, but I think we all can relate to a lot of different aspects of them, and then probably look back and appreciate it more. I think those of us now, like you've been in it 25 years, or you know, and we look back, but the kids that are racing right now, you know, and the ones that are really, you know, still young, and you know, if they listen to this or listen to us, you know, they probably weren't thinking at all about it, because I know I wasn't, you know. It's just like, oh, it's mom's doing this, you know. And but that's a big deal. Yeah, take care of your mom, you know. And if you don't think it's important, in my own experience, you know, I'm still talking, but after I got out of karting and I went racing professionally in the F2000 and Toyota Atlantic and stuff, you know, got to be silly season, and I didn't have $1 million to go racing. And I drove back from the East Coast, broke, not knowing what I was going to do, moved back into my room in Oregon, going, I don't know, I got to keep racing. I'm trying to get something together. And you know, my mom and I were up, and I'm like, I'm going to buy a travel trailer, and I'm going to tow it behind my minivan, and I'm going to live in a travel trailer and go to all the races. And I'm going to make sure I'm a race car driver still, you know. And for some reason, my mom thought that wasn't a bad idea. I'm not really sure why that was, but we actually came across an old Airstream motorhome, and we both looked at it and were like, this thing is so cool. And I'm like, man, Mom, I think I can drive this thing and tow a trailer, and I can live in this thing and go to all the races and be, you know. And so she somehow, I mean, she thought that, I don't know if I was just a great salesman or she's just really nice, but she thought that might be a good plan. So we bought this old Airstream motorhome and brought it down to my dad's shop, and she and I spent and my father, we ripped the whole thing apart and redid the inside and made everything nice. She did the whole bed, had custom pillows, and actually it was Mike Rollison's mom, Dolly Rollison, sewed the curtains together for me and the blinds, and we all put time and effort into this thing. And then I moved to Reno, went down to the Super Nationals in 2003, towing the trailer behind this Airstream, and I parked it in the parking lot of the Rio and literally stayed in there and then raced the Super Nats I hear with Howie Idelson, and then drove it back up to Reno and started working for George Banky and building dyno room and all that stuff. And and I was trying to pay my mom every month for the thing, but I wasn't consistently making money. So, but I mean, without that whole thing, that type of support was amazing. I think looking back now, it turned out this is even better, right? So then I didn't pay my mom back for the motorhome, right? I paid some payments, but then I opened up my shop and I didn't have money and I was living in it. And, but it turned out where, after I got married down there, I still had my Airstream motorhome. I used it every weekend going to the sand dunes and doing my ATV business. And, I got married and we thought, well, we need a bigger motorhome so I can tow this bigger trailer that I bought. And, so I went to sell it, and it turned out that it was one of the last 25 Airstream motorhomes made in 1993 or something. And it was a collector's item. And so not only did I get this motorhome, I ended up selling it for way more than I paid for it. Right. And I got all these weird calls about this motorhome from all these weird people. One of them, that needed the metal protection from the rays of the sun, when they took their aluminum hat off or something. And other people, the guy ended up buying it. I thought he was normal. And then he stopped by on his way out of town. And he's like, yeah, I bought it because, the end of the world's coming up and I need it for the apocalypse. And, but, he paid the money and it was a good deal. And then that turned into the next motorhome. And so I really got lucky on that whole deal. But I look back at that now and I look back at the, what my mom did, and even when I was the most down and out or whatever, and she was still willing to, step up and help in any way they could. So, outside of racing, she did all that so I could still try to race and still try to be a race car driver. And even I got into Skip Barber and I took it into the wall at Mid-Ohio. My first phone call was to my mom, and then it wasn't that, hey mom, I crashed. It was, mom, I don't have the money to pay the bill.
So let's go backwards here a little bit. Did you ever pay your mom back for the Airstream?
Well, not in it. Okay, so since I've taken over the family business 11 years ago, I can say that I have finally made enough money to say that I paid my parents back probably, more than what, or at least most of what I owed them. I don't know how much I ended up being. But yeah, I probably did it, in a roundabout way after coming back here and stuff and succeeding with the businesses to a really good level. I think I did, but that's something that, I ever paid back in that time period. You know, it went, yeah, I slacked on it. And I think that, you know, I mean, I was still trying to achieve things, and she knew it. And so she never pressed the issue, but it definitely was, you know, a really nice deal, you know, because, yeah, I was supposed to make payments and I didn't. But, man, when you're racing, right, how many things do you screw up? I mean, I screwed up everything along the way, trying to be, you know, race things I couldn't afford, or be somebody and run at a level that, you know, I mean, you're doing whatever it takes. It's partly why being a professional racer sometimes isn't morally a great decision. I mean, you may not be, for me, it wasn't the person I wanted to be morally, because it kept turning into situations like that where I had all the best intentions, but then things don't work out, you know, and the money wasn't there, or the winnings weren't there, or the job ended, or something, right? We all ended up in that situation where my mom, you know, I think if she really cared about the money, wouldn't have bought it to begin with. And then she said, well, if you want to, she probably wanted me to pay just so I had some type of responsibility of paying some bill, because at that point, I don't think I was paying any bills. I mean, I was like, woohoo, I'm living in a motorhome in George Banky's parking lot. And, yeah, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do, right? I think I spent my money on like a PlayStation 2. I didn't know, you know, I mean, it was not good decisions looking back, but she still supported me. And I think most of these track moms would do that, right? If it came down to, oh, I need a new washer and dryer, or I'm going to get this one fixed for the 4th time so my kid can have that set of tires, you know, they're going to do that. You know, when their kids are asking them for it in racing. I mean, you want your kid to, you know, to achieve their dreams, and moms are making that sacrifice. I mean, you know, up until I moved back home to take over the businesses, I mean, my parents, my mom, you know, my dad didn't care much about, you know, all the rooms of the house, but like they literally had the same bathrooms in their house from 1977 when the house was built, or 76, right? Like the original counters and cabinets and yellow toilet, right? Like a wood seat on there. And I'm like, Mom, you know, we were doing pretty good, and they're going to buy this new house and stuff. And I'm like, you can't sell this place. And why did you never redo these bathrooms? And then as I was thinking that, I was like, oh, probably because you're supporting my ass this whole time, you know? And so, yeah, I think, you know, you look at the sacrifice, I didn't see it until then, you know, and there's other things they did, but obviously along the line there, you know. I mean, I even when I packed up all my stuff and left college to race for Track Magic, right? It was my mom who supported me more than my father. He was really disappointed that I was going to drop out of school to go race for Track Magic. And my mom's like, well, you know, you got to do what you got to do. So not only did I load up all my crap in my car and go down there with no place to live, it was my mom that talked to Fausto Vitello. And I remember him on the phone with her, and he's like, well, you know, what's he going to do here? And she's like, well, you know, he's there to work. And he's like, well, how much, I was talking to Fausto, and he's like, well, how much money do you need to live, you know, to be here? And I said, well, I don't know. And he's like, well, how, you need to find out. And I said, well, I can call my mom. So I called my mom, and then he goes, here, give me the phone. And so he's talking to my mom, and they came up with I needed $1,000 a month to pay for a room to live in, and to be at Track Magic, to be a race car driver, or to race for them, right? And
yeah.
So so my mom negotiated $1,000 a month with him, and when he hung up, he's like, I really like your mom. She's pretty cool. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, and so he literally paid me that the entire time I was at, you know, race for Track Magic, because that was what I needed to live on, right? And so it's pretty cool deal that, you know, she was able to support me go down there. So then after I get down there with my car, it's full of crap, And I get the place to live, and I get this whole deal with Track Magic. Um, they were like, well, you have to drive the dually to and from the track every day, and and I'm like, well, nothing's secure in the back of that thing, and they were using it for work and business, so I needed something that could haul a go-kart around that was my own car, and I didn't have anything, so I called my mom. I said, Mom, I really need a vehicle. I need to sell my car, get something that hauls a go-kart. And she's like, well, you can take my minivan. And I was like, oh man, that'll be great. And so I literally swapped her and took her brand new minivan, a 1996 Safari GMC minivan.
Please tell me it wasn't like burgundy color.
It was white and with gray cladding, because cladding is cool in the 90s. The plastic cladding on everything. So mine had the gray cladding, and that didn't turn out to be in very good shape because the 55-gallon barrels at Dixon happened to be right below the window level and out of the sight of all my mirrors. So every time I was leaving there, I think I tagged a 55-gallon barrel at some point. I mean, I had bonk, oh, shit, I hit another one of those things. And but we built the whole rack, and I literally could roll my 125 in the back and put my toolbox in, and I drove the shit out of that thing for like 7 years, and drove it cross country, and I drove it to the point where I blew the radiator out of it, blew something else up, and then I ended up giving it back, right? And I bought myself a big 4-wheel drive van at my new shop. That's how long I had it. Then I had this, and my dad fixed it and all this stuff. But what was bad is the car, I traded her back. As soon as she gave me the minivan, the transmission went out on it, right? So she called me. It's like, your transmission just went out on your car. And I was like, what'd you do? It was totally me, right? I beat the hell out of it. So, I mean, she was a really, nice mom to deal with my ass. And I'm sure everybody's thinking about their own stories with their mom. But when you've done all this racing and they were helping along the way, I mean, I got a ton of stories, because we always had a good relationship, and she was always very supportive. And you start thinking about the funny stories. I think, they went to extremes. I mean, I remember, another mom that went, so Kyle Martin, raced for Track Magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
He comes, we met him in Norway, Illinois, racing that WKA Constructors Championship. We met him at the IKF Gearbox Nationals in Vegas, and then we both met up there, and so then shortly after, Kyle was going to race for Track Magic and basically moved to the city. And so his parents, Dina and Richard Martin, decided, they'd get him an apartment out there with Bill Talley. And it wasn't very far from where I lived. And, being the mom she was, it was like Dina, had to do it all. She had to get the apartment. She had to, get all the furniture. She made sure everything was done. I mean, she went over the top, right? Because, again, being a great track mom, Kyle was young. I mean, he was way young. He was a couple years younger than me, and we were, I think I was maybe 21 or something like that. So for moving to the San Francisco or Pacifica, or wherever we were right there at that moment, you couldn't do it without some help. But I remember, she would fly out multiple times and make sure they had food and make sure they had everything they needed. And, always really, really supportive. I mean, I think Kyle can attest to that even to this day, again. And my friends that, I race with, that, we would have their moms come to the track almost every race all the time. I mean, you got to know everyone, and it was just, it was like when one mom couldn't make it, it was nice to have, someone else there, and I think, we definitely appreciated it, and then now looking back, it's like very special. I still know a lot of these people, and it made them all better people. I think Kyle's a great father and stuff because of this too. So, and I think his wife now, Brooke, is becoming a track mom with Chase Martin. So it's I guess it's going to be the next generation coming about here.
Yeah, that's always fun to watch when the whole family gets involved and they figure out their different roles to keep the kids on the track.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fun. I guess some of the track moms are track grandmas now, right? So
yeah.
So that's pretty fun when you got generations out there. I found it real cool. I was out at Pat Akers with my go-kart, and I had a little kids cart out there, and it was me, my dad, and my two sons out there, and we're like, three generations of guys out there is pretty cool. And now you've seen that with the track moms of and stuff is the other side of it. It's so I think karting definitely with that is it's going to be a better place. Listening to this podcast, appreciating them, and basically giving them some recognition is a really good idea. This sport needs it. I mean, like I was telling you last night, Linda Emick, being a track mom to Ronnie and what she did with the sport. And, I mean, everybody that's in the politics of the sport, you can say things that maybe, some people didn't like or some people did, but the truth is it's like, as a track mom that was all in, ran a company, was a mom, controlled an organization, ran a region. I mean, that's like going above and beyond, and there's a few of those out there you can name that are, we're like super track moms,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's funny because we were talking about like the different roles that the track moms were playing, and not all of them would sit there and make your sandwiches and make sure you had something to eat, and that was some of them. Not all of them are sitting there running the whole show or doing registration or doing the points in the middle of the week, taking time away from their families. One track mom that really stands out to me from Northern California is AJ Allmendinger's mom, Karen. She actually did all of the setup on AJ's karts. And
oh wow,
she never raced karts. And if I have the story right, she actually learned how to do it all through video games. She would play video games in the 90s where you could go in and change camber, caster, toe in and stuff, and she would play the video game. It's like, oh, okay. Well, if it works in the game, maybe it'll work on the kart. And remember the RLV Exactos?
Mm-hmm.
She was the one in control of those. And she did the alignment stuff. She did the sensitive stuff, and the dad didn't do the chassis setup stuff. And I always looked at that relationship and just like, well, that's kind of out of place, and it worked. I mean, it was just a track mom in a different role.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I always remember her because you have a woman working on a kart, so that stands out. But I also remember one time my kart wasn't working very well. We were under the same tent, and she came over with the Exactos and threw it on. It's like she was basically like, "Hey, dummy, move out of the way." And she threw the Exactos on, and whatever I did to the kart, it was so out of whack. I mean, it was just wrong. And she got that thing so squared up in the proper toe and everything right. And I went out the next session. It's like, oh my God, did she rebuild this cart? Like it was a whole different cart. And that point really drove home to me the importance of a proper front end. And yeah, so she was one that just kind of always stood out as getting the job done.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's really cool, and obviously, his success in racing, he probably owes a lot to his mom, and he's still out there doing it. So
yeah,
it's an impressive career, and it's really cool. I mean, she can really say she played a really important role with that, because he was, when I watched him race, and we were at the track a lot together and stuff. And then some of the races I'd just go to help other Track Magic customers. But I always enjoyed his intensity out there, and I'm sure his family was, 100% behind him, but that was, that when you're running at that level day in, day out, like a lot of your older NorCal racers that made it, into professional racing. I mean, her intensity in that family was, it was all about making him win and look good and achieve everything he needed. So, and they, in the money, when the money's not just, when you just don't have it, it makes it hard, like Scott and AJ and, you're doing everything you can. So that was, like I said, you may not like everybody over years of racing, or you have conflicts or whatever, but looking back, I respect a lot of people who just made it happen somehow, maybe there are points that are luckier than others or something, but it's impressive. And I'm sure his mom was super proud, at this point, so that's a cool story.
And I think, that from what I observed over the years, a lot of people say, oh, you need a lot of money, you need this, you need that. It's like, yeah, absolutely. But if you don't have it, figure out how to get it. Figure out how to go after the resource you don't have. If you're not, if it's truly your passion, that's what I've seen where a lot of these guys have really made it, because the obstacles that were in their way, they weren't walls, they weren't mountains, they were just small obstacles that they got around. They figured out how to get around it, and they moved on. Yeah, and a lot of it, is with that support of just a core group. Don't give up.
Yeah. Yeah, and moms can teach you the, basic manners, and my wife teaches our son, please, say thank you, write a thank you card, be appreciative of, of things, and people, and all those lessons, go a long way in racing. Just what I would consider now is doing the basics, and, if you don't think that's important, think again, because that's what's going to, you might turn somebody off because you just didn't know how to, introduce yourself or say something nice when they did something for you. You never know who that guy is going to be. If you're trying to become a race car driver and you're trying to get someone to support you, that's what they're looking for. And so, those manners and stuff, your mom, what I see my wife do for my kids all the time is important, and they don't even think twice about it now,
Yeah.
Please and thank you is a pretty common deal. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think you got a really good topic. I hope everybody is listening is finding it very fascinating, how many aspects they probably didn't think about. Because for me right now, I'm sitting there, I probably could talk to you all day about it, but I think it's just really good awareness. And I think the examples in NorCal, especially on these stories and what I've seen there, it's really evident. Every time you go to a track now and you go to a club, you're going to be thinking about it, if you listen to this. So that's pretty cool. I think there probably needs to be some type of appreciation award or something for these moms, and for these people that put in all this time, and maybe somebody will do something now.
Yeah, no, again, get the ball rolling. And, for those that are listening and you want to share a story, go to Norcal Karters. On Facebook is probably the easiest for everybody. If you just go to the Facebook page, Norcal Karters, and they could start their own thread. You could piggyback off of this one.
Yeah, share a story. Share a picture of you and your mom. It's a cool deal, so I think it'd be really fun to watch everybody post stuff.
Yeah, and I thought the pictures you sent over last night, I think you should post them on the page.
Oh yeah, no problem. I definitely, I need to go through and find more. I haven't done it yet. It's pretty emotional to go through a bunch of stuff right now, but definitely cool to post some up, and I think a lot of people are going to have some really good ones. So yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and then let's go back to the very beginning again. Did you say that your mom was the one that got you into karting?
Well, I mean, both my parents race karts, so
okay.
It wasn't necessarily just my mom. My parents, basically, I grew up at the racetrack and around karting, so yeah, I can't say it was just my mom, but I mean, she definitely had 50% influence of it, and knew what I was getting into. I was one of those kids, though. I wasn't, I had a go-kart at 8, but I didn't really want to race it. I went out and wasn't interested, and didn't really start racing until I was like 12. I was older, but, I didn't really care about racing earlier. I didn't, nobody pushed me, or anything. Even though my parents were into it, they weren't like, you got to go right now. You got to do it. It was like, oh, you want to do it, and so it was a pretty good deal. But then as soon as I did start, my mom was, a lot more patient, teaching me some of the aspects of it for sure. She definitely taught me how to drive a car, and taught me how to drive a stick shift, and taught me how to drift, and taught me how to car control, and taught me a lot of stuff, so I was definitely she had a lot of influence on a lot of my racing and stuff. So I think, yeah, it was total family dynamic as far as, between both my parents. But yeah, like I was telling you last night, though, when my parents were racing, they didn't race on the same team. I wasn't my dad and mom under the same tent, or even the same motorhome or whatever, or trailer. My mom had her trailer that my grandfather towed behind his motorhome. My grandfather and my dad had the same type of motorhome, sports coaches back in the day. My dad towed his trailer with his go-kart, and then my mom towed her little blue trailer behind my grandfather's motorhome, and hers was all painted with, it's called the Blue Team, and she had her own T-shirts, and I got her racing bag out in my shop in her old suit, and it says like the Blue Team on it, and it had like all the Looney Tune characters.
Okay.
And she hand painted the trailer with stencils and made like, Tweety Bird and all the stuff on there. And then my dad, which I have my original suit, had this logo made that said Ram Point, and it was like the Texaco star, and used like, his looked like all corporate and professional. And my mom was like total, the opposite direction. And then me and Ryan Fallon, my sister and others, we have pictures of us sitting on the step in the motorhome at the 83 Grand Nationals at Laguna Seca. And, we would, basically, go back and forth to the different trailers, and, go visit my mom and go visit my dad. like I said, didn't seem weird at the time, but looking back, people are like, "What? Really? They did that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know." It's
Well,
kind of weird.
I'm laughing because my dad and I, when we lived together back when I was a kid, I started karting at let's see, 18 or 19, and hold on for a second. There we go. So I started karting 18 or 19, and after about the first half of a year, my dad just realized I was an asshole, and he started packing his own vehicle and took his own stuff to the track. We didn't pit with each other or anything. And looking back at it, it's like, yeah, I was just kind of a self-absorbed dick. So I don't blame him.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about your parents,
a little bit, and it was just better to be away from each other. I don't know. I mean, I could see it.
Yeah,
so your family dynamic was.
Yeah, you get all worked up. I mean, one of my good friends, he fired me as a mechanic. He was my mechanic, and he fired me. It's like, you can't fire me. It's like, I'm paying you. He goes, no. He goes, you're no fun to work for. I'm firing you. I go, no, you quit. You can't fire me. He's like, no, I'm firing you.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it was great. But again, like you and I said earlier in the podcast, it's you have different perspectives, different viewpoints. And now that I'm older, I realize, like, man, if I saw that kid in the pits, I'd probably want to punch him in the head. And I've asked people that, oh, I remember you. It's like, do you want to like punch me? I mean, was I never tried to be malicious. I just pop off. My mouth just runs. And yeah.
I was always more quiet, but my friend Ryan Fowler would do most of that type of speaking for me.
Would pop off?
He'd be right up in there. Yeah. Yeah, and he usually, he wasn't a big guy, and he wasn't like a physical dude, but boy, he could pop off at someone and usually say exactly what I wanted to say without me looking like, a jerk.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nice to have a little backup like that, And so, but man, it was funny, you look at your whole dynamic of the people, and your pits and what you did, and it changes, but so it's pretty funny. So what was your mom doing while you're why this was all going down? Did she have any involvement with that, or
no? Because my mom wasn't a track mom. She was always working. So it's and just the racing thing, she really had no passion for it, and I don't blame her. It's like, and if I'm 18 or 19, I'm kind of an adult.
Right,
but she was definitely
18, 19. Okay. So
yeah, I was already older, but she was definitely the buffer. I mean, she was definitely the one on many occasions that had to kind of step in and kind of smooth things over and kind of ground both myself and my dad.
The reality of the situation, that you two grown adults and are racing go-karts, and point the importance of it out.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then also my dad would get mad very quickly, but he never popped off with his, like, he never said anything cruel or bad, and it was probably very warranted. And I was just the opposite. Like, I would just, and so my mom wanted to come in, like, explain his side and explain my side to my dad, and then we kind of get it soothed over. But then over the years, we've just realized there's just certain things we don't do together. Just him and I can go fishing. We can. There's a lot of things we can do together that we are perfectly enjoyable at, and then there's other things. Racing is one of them. It's like, no, I prefer not to be around that guy.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because he's one of the first guys I call when I go out for a practice day.
Right. Well, that's cool. What works for you. So guess what happens in all these family dynamics is the longer you do it, you figure out what works, and
Yeah, exactly.
And then in the long term, you look back and you go, well, I'm just glad I did it. It was something. A lot of people just don't end up ever doing anything that they can look back at, like racing and stuff, and so that's why it's really cool. You can get your family out, you can get everybody together, and you can figure out how to work it. Sometimes it helps in other aspects too, like my dad and I still work together somewhat, to where we run the businesses, and we still play together and do other things, and we can separate things now. We can hash it out on business, and then 5 minutes later be like, hey, let's go take the boat out, and racing kind of taught us to do that, intense at the track, and then go out to eat, and forget about it, just basically learn how to adapt and, work together. I think that, it's always, racing teaches that type of relationship dynamic sometimes, if it's possible. Other times, maybe you don't even ever talk to the person, So,
honestly, if you could figure it out through racing, you could figure it out through almost anything. Because, I mean, you're so emotionally involved with racing. Your adrenaline's pumping. You have everything going against you from an emotional, grounded standpoint, and yeah, like you said, working through it.
Yeah, you just sometimes it takes that mom to intervene to keep that relationship good while you're figuring it out. But
that's right.
You definitely figure out a bunch of it, because you're running emotionally high, you're charged, adrenaline, defeat, all the things that happen, injury. I mean, everything happens out there. So it's really been, I associated it, all the racing experience straight to business and competitiveness in business, and that stuff goes. I mean, it's the same thing, what it takes to win is what it takes to win. So, once you learn those things from racing, it comes a long way. And, I think, that really helped out a lot when my parents both taught me the aspects of racing, and how my mom would be like, you need to be a good winner and a good loser, I mean, you don't wake up one morning and go, I need to be a good winner. Nobody teaches you that.
Of course I'm a good winner. I won.
Yeah. What do you mean good winner?
Yeah. Good winner. You want me to be a good loser? No, I want to win.
Yeah. I didn't realize I could be a jerk and be a bad winner, but that is the case, right?
It can, yeah.
So, yeah, it's funny, some of the things along the way. So, but man, I tell you, it's fun. I think everybody is going to have fun with this. I hope they all do post some stuff. I know we tend to rattle on quite a bit, so we just can go on and on, but I hope that it does bring some awareness to the people who are, and the moms that are still out there busting their butt and helping their kids, and all the future moms that are going to, getting into the sport with their kids, and those who are watching their kids on TV running, NASCAR and IndyCar right now. I think it's really cool that, you brought this up. So it's a good way to, show some appreciation, get people thinking about it.
Yeah, and again, if you have a good track mom story or a memory or a photo and you want to put it on the page, again, Norcal Karters, you can find it on Facebook. And then also, if you're a track mom and you want to bring your own perspective of, hell, even if you want to voice your opinion on how you see things, and bring that insight in as well, because like Jason and I said earlier, a lot of these race events would never get off would get off the ground or happen without the track mom supporting it. And I mean, how many people would just like faint or starve to death on a race weekend if it wasn't for the track mom?
It's so true. I remember her force feeding me. You got to eat something. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Barf.
Well, I mean, even at Blue Max, there was one of the wives. So it's like there was nothing available at the track. There was fast food down the street and a supermarket down the street, but you know how it is on a race weekend. Even at a club race, it's just not easy to just hop in your truck, go down, half hour, 45 minutes, get back, enjoy your lunch. So she started just doing a snack shack. And and taking care, just taking care of the racers. Her prices were really, really fair. And yeah, just feeding the people that forgot to feed themselves.
Yeah, it's important, and I see that. I saw that a lot of different racetracks I went to over the years and stuff. Mainly, most of the snack bars and stuff were somebody's track mom, and everybody knew them when they walked up, and and they'd be unloading all the stuff out of the back of their car, and yeah, I remember seeing that for a lot of years. So
yeah,
very cool, man. I really glad we did this. I think it's definitely been a really fun conversation, and for me, the timing of it, is it's really cool that you called me about it, and I really kind of want to carry on some of this conversation with some of my other friends, and tell them what you did if they didn't hear your podcast,
Yeah, well, again, Jason, I'm glad you took the time to come on, and I know it's definitely a sensitive time for you. It's like, what, how do you feel about doing this thing? And no, I'm glad you were up for it, because I'm just waiting to hear I want to see more of the stories that get posted and the sharing and the insights that happen.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I think it's going to be really fun to see.
Well, very cool. Well, again, thank you very much. I'm going to hit end on the podcast, but stay on the line for a few moments, and thank you again for coming on.
Oh, thank you.